Hey gang on YouTube, this is just a little bit of an update. What you're looking at right now, this is the Idaho Power Corporation's outage map of power outages. That windstorm that we had blow through last night. I've got a couple other videos on the restoration of our first outage in our city, where a single line had fallen, and the lineman came out and fixed it. They turned the power back on. Um, it stayed steady for about 5 minutes. It flickered once, came back on again, and then went out. And that was at 5:48 last night. And as you can see by the time on the computer in the bottom, it is now 2:30 p.m. the next day. We still do not have power, and this is why. If you look at this map, the yellow pins are outages of 100 to 500 people. The purple pins are multiple outages in the same location, and a blue pin is an outage of 10 to 100. Now I'm going to see if I can do this while holding the phone. Let me zoom in on this map. Move in a little closer to some of the cities. As you can see, we go down. Let me see if I can scroll down here to another city. You look at the city of Pocatello. Here's an outage of 800 people. If I scroll back up, I got to go tighter here on this city of Blackfoot, Idaho. And you see the city of Moreland. And let's go south of Blackfoot and look at the red pin right here. Red pin is 1001 and above for outages. So here you can see there are two outages side by side. 1,681 people are out of power also since about 5 o'clock last night. You'll notice, yes, it made a restoration time. They do have a crew, supposedly have a crew on site at the event. Now, the site has admittedly, Idaho Power has put a disclaimer on the header for their website saying that the information on the site is lagging because of all the outages involved. And if I go even further, I'm going to go even further out. This is statewide. Idaho Power's territory covers pretty much all of southern Idaho. And as you can see, they've got several outages in the Twin Falls area down here. And they also have outages in Nampa, Boise, and some of the other areas. So Idaho Power has their hands full right now. We had a windstorm move through here. Those of you who've seen that Jericho that happened in Iowa, our storm was not quite as severe as that, but it was pretty severe in terms of intensity, especially last night around 8 p.m. or so, which is shortly after I took those other videos showing our linemen repairing the damage. When I back that pin up again, you'll notice that one group says 16 outages in that one area. Most of those are small outages. They're just in a tight cluster. But yeah, no power as of yet. Again, we're looking at currently 2:30 in the afternoon on the September 8th. The power went out last night at 5 p.m. at September 7th. And I have a generator. I actually had to run all the way up to a city 30 miles from here to go get fuel for my portable generator, unfortunately. And it was one of those things where I'm kicking myself because over the last week or so, I kept thinking, man, I need to get gas for the generator. Not because I knew about this weather coming, but also winter is approaching up here. And also, portable generators are supposed to be exercised on a regular basis. You're not supposed to use it, then put it away, then ignore it for a year, and then pull it back out again, and then try to use it. You're supposed to use it on a regular basis, keep it exercised, and I had failed to do so. And luckily for me, the generator started up and it ran okay. It's actually running things right now. You'll notice I have a desk lamp here on. I have my little mini fireplace heater on. Turbo's here laying down. Right, Turbo? Right, Fuzzbutt? Hi. Say hi to the people on YouTube. Anyway, but yeah, so right now we're sitting here after we're approaching now 22 hours I believe, if I've done my arithmetic correctly, with no power. 21 hours actually, with no power. Undetermined ETA. I did find within our own city, and I called it into the power company to let them know that there is a tree branch down on the lines just a couple houses from me. And so I suggested to them that they send a crew out here to remove that limb before they try to recycle the power up here, reset the recloser. I'm also going to give you guys a little bit of power operations here while we're looking at this image. Power lines, if you've ever had a situation where your power blinks then comes back on, blinks and comes back on, and then goes down for the third time and then stays out. There's an automatic circuit breaker. It's called a recloser that they use on power lines. It's actually a really cool thing, and it's very helpful. If there's a momentary thing like a bird crosses power lines, and it has happened, a small tree branch that falls on the lines and then drops, the short circuit, or the fault as they call it properly, would relay this recloser and it would open up. It pauses 10 seconds and then it recloses the line, thus the name. It closes the line again to check and see if the fault is still present. If the fault is still there, it will open again. Then it will try a third time after another 10-second delay. And if the fault is still present on the third hit, it will lock out and stay out until the crew investigates and manually resets it. Now, in the case of our lines, we operate, as I mentioned in the other video, we operate at a higher primary voltage than a lot of areas. We operate at 34,000 volt class power lines. And so the recloser on this line to my location is set on what they call one shot. In other words, it will only try resetting once and then it kicks off. Or more correctly, if it senses a fault, it trips and it stays locked out, so you can investigate. It doesn't allow. It's actually set to the safest mode. One shot would be where it makes one attempt instead of two to reclose. So let me get my terminology straight myself. Ours is set up to where the first hit locks it out automatically. And in the case of yesterday's outage, where the power line broke and went down just outside of town, that's actually a very good thing because the grass was very dry underneath it. It was laying on a chain link fence, and had it tried to reclose, there would have been multiple arc paths, multiple arcs to ground happening, and we would have had one heck of a brush fire get started right away. So that would have been very bad news. Thankfully, because it was on a single hit, it just boom, immediately locked out and did not try anything. Now, yesterday's outage, remember I mentioned that we did lose power briefly and it came back. So they may have, after that line went down, they may have, because of the wind, reset the recloser to do a one shot, so that if the lines actually swung together momentarily in the wind, which is possible with the velocities we were getting, then it would go ahead and automatically reset itself and then see if the line was clear. But unfortunately, the fault evidently was hard enough that it decided to lock out and stayed locked out. Now the crews, as you can see by these push pins on the outage map, the crews are extremely busy. I have been in communication with Idaho Power. Like I say, I let them know about the tree branch down on the lines next door to me, so they can clear that before they try to reset our power up here. The latest update on the pin said that they're working to determine a restoration time. There still is not a crew assigned out here yet. There is a crew assigned to an outage south of us, so my thought on the subject is that crew is probably going to head up to us right after they finish up with what's happening down south, because it's also, I believe, on the same substation, not necessarily the same circuit, but on the same substation that we are on. And so there may be a fault at the substation as well, which has caused this extended outage. Anyway, so that's the saga. So luckily I got the portable generator running. I had to stay home from work today. My responsibilities here in town, I tend to the city's water system. It has a propane-powered permanent generator, which has been running just fine, thankfully, for the last 20-some-odd hours, trying to keep... so we have water in the city at least, but beyond that, there's no power to anybody. I think I'm literally the only person in town running a portable generator right now. And yeah, so it's a lot of fun. So power outages, be prepared. Moral is, if you have a portable generator, first off, make sure you keep it fueled up. Run it frequently. It should be run at least once a month for 10 minutes with no load, and then put a load on it for another 10 minutes. So run it for about 20 minutes total, and then go ahead and shut it down. Make sure you have plenty of fuel on hand. Don't be caught like I did, where I didn't have any gas available to fill the generator up. And before anybody asked, I was not able to siphon out of my vehicle to do it. I have a newer vehicle, and it's got that anti-siphon feature where it blocks hoses that try to go down and siphon fuel out of your gas tank. So I was not able to get fuel out of my vehicle to be able to power the generator. So just be aware of that. Make sure you're ready. And most importantly, if you're using a portable generator, either hook up your refrigerator and essentials using properly sized extension cords, or use an approved transfer switch setup. And I'm going to pause this video and show you what I mean. Okay, I'm resuming the video. There's my generator outside. You can see the heavy cord coming off of it. I may, despite the noise, also in this part of it, show you. On the outside of the house, I have what's known as a power inlet installed. And then it comes over to my breaker panel. And you notice this kit right here at the very top. This is an interlock kit. This is the breaker for the generator. This is the main breaker to this panel, which would normally bring in utility power. This interlock is a device that will only allow one breaker at a time to be on. In other words, right now I have the generator breaker on, so this is going to block my attempts to turn on the main breaker to this panel, which would get fed utility power and would backfeed the generator to the rest of the house. So once the outage is over and utility power is restored, I would shut this breaker off from the generator. This plate will drop down and this will move out of the way, and I can turn this main breaker back on and feed this panel from the utility like normal. Most of my circuits are shut off. The one with the tape on is one that has a open wire that's hasn't been connected yet. Most of my circuits are shut off, as you can see. You only want to run essentials on your generator, and you know, it's okay to run your TV or whatever, but just don't get crazy running a bunch of non-essential crap. Now this is getting incredibly loud, but I'll go ahead and show you the inlet box on the side of the house here. And there it is. By the way, that was the generator featured in my other video, the Harbor Freight generator issues video, where I pointed out the problem with the loose twist lock receptacle. But anyway, so that's the proper way to connect to your house and do it safely so that you don't backfeed and potentially kill or injure a lineman. Let me open the blinds up again. You can see that giant tree limb sitting there in my yard. It did come down, and it thankfully did not pull my power drop off the house. It had the potential to do so, but I don't believe it did. I hope it didn't damage the drop. We'll find out when they restore utility power, because it will explode if it did. We'll have a nice little fireworks show in my backyard. But in any event, for now, that's the video. Be safe. Get yourself ready for the winter.